behind the curtain.
Just basically saying, yeah, we did it, just keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yeah, 100%.
How mad would that be?
I'm loving it.
You photoshopping, blah, 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 blah. Suck him up, I was fucking... Yeah.
There's a page. Go check it out. He throws for a wild card. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Missing Mysteries in Black and White with your two hosts, myself Ed and my main man Josh.
How are we all doing?
Mate, we have been talking for an hour now. I ain't got a question.
No.
Oh well. Bugger it. But no, but how you been, Josh?
Yeah, I've been alright, mate. Well, considering, but
Yeah.
But no, I've been all good, mate. Speak Albanian now, I'm what? No, how you been?
Yeah, not too bad. Just flat out as usual. But
Yeah.
apart from that, no, pretty good.
Sweet as.
Right. If you remembered last week, we spoke about the Goat Man.
Mm-hmm.
The Goat Man.
The good man.
And if you watched that episode, thank you. If you haven't, watch it.
Sort yourself out.
Yeah, have a word with yourself and listen back and watch it. Or listen to it. Hang on, that didn't make sense. Listen back and watch it.
Well, yeah, do both. Listen back to it and then watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Two birds, one stone.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's one bird, two stones, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
This has been a calamity of an opening.
It really has, hasn't it? I can't talk. But no. And, but yeah, watch back Goat Man. And at the end of the episode, like we do every episode, Josh had a little brief summary of what we're going to be talking about today. And if you don't know, it is about more of the aftermath of
the
7/7 bombings, which happened in London. They say that it was the next year. I believe it was 2002.
2005.
2005.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was 2005 in London on 7th of the 7th. Hence the name 7/7. But which was a great tragedy in British history. With you know, like, it weren't even cooling down at that point after 9/11.
No.
And then this happens again.
Yeah.
And that's what.
And I think in between there was one in Madrid as well.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
And in a way, that's what kind of
spurred on the whole Iraq War.
Yeah, pretty much. It was so that we've all got to do something.
Something about it, yeah. Which again, could go on another podcast on that. But why Iraq? I don't know.
No, so it didn't have nothing to really do with Iraq,
no. Fuck all.
No, but hey ho, you can't rewrite.
No,
history.
exactly.
But no, so everyone, make sure you're getting a drink. I got mine. Grab something to eat. We ain't got no. Sit back, relax, or I know a lot of people like to listen to us while they're working.
Well, you're doing something.
Don't know how you could do that.
Like, my attention span would be all over the place. I'd have to constantly keep rewinding. What did they just say?
Yeah. But yeah, if you're doing work and you fancy listening to us, to our dulcet tones, then have at it. How could people be relaxed listening to us?
I don't know.
I mean, there's me sounding like an angry farmer. Nice, I don't know. But yeah, get relaxed, get something to eat and drink. And Josh.
Yep.
Have at it.
Right. Well, on 7th of July 2005, 4 suicide bombers detonated explosive devices during the morning rush hour in London, England. 3 exploded on the London Underground trains and 1 on a double-decker bus. The train bombings occurred on the Circle Line near Aldgate, Edgware Road, and on the Piccadilly Line near Russell Square.
And we were just saying before we came on air, like when I think of like the 7/7 bombers, I always think of that bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, the picture will be here.
Yeah.
But that's what I always think of. And that's what really
stands out. Yeah. A 4th terrorist detonated another bomb, like we just said, on a double-decker bus in Tavistock Square. 52 people of 18 different nationalities were killed and nearly 800 were injured in the attack. It was the UK's deadliest terrorist incident since the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 near Lockerbie, which I will cover on another episode because that's a mad story in itself.
Okey-doke.
It was also the UK's first Islamic suicide attack, and it was also the deadliest bombing on UK soil since the Second World War. The explosions were caused by improvised explosive devices made from concentrated hydrogen peroxide and pepper, packed into backpacks, which is mad when you think, like, obviously hydrogen peroxide isn't exactly household, but the amount of household shit like pepper and like things like that go into these things, it's like, it's mad how many household items can actually make a bomb.
Yeah,
it is actually quite scary.
Well, it's the same with like with I mean, it's a bit different, but like farming, like you get like the, what is it, it's like the chemicals and like hay or straw or something. You can't store them together because that could create a bomb.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
Explosion,
so mad, like how just so many things can react with
it's
one
like,
another.
Yeah, fertilizers.
Like things like that. Stuff, which is that's quite common in a lot of bombs, isn't it? Fertilizers and things like that.
Yeah. And as well, like, I mean, you got like shrapnel bombs, so they make something for the actual explosion, but then they just use like
nails or whatever.
Yeah, knives and forks and all sorts.
Fucking just anything metal, because obviously in a big explosion, that thing's going to go through you like nothing.
Yeah, exactly, and they'll be burning hot. So.
Yeah, God, it's fucked.
It really is.
Fucked.
Like say, like people who are from around our way, like in Cambridgeshire, in Wisbech, it was only like the last couple of weeks, like they've had to. They was like the bomb squad. Now, ain't too far away from us at all.
No.
And there was people like making homemade bombs
and
this
everything.
Is in Wisbech.
Yeah, which is such
town.
A quaint little town. Well, it's not exactly quaint, but a little town that you don't expect this sort of shit. But it just goes to show you really do have to be careful out there.
Yeah, but what gets me is that if they've done that in here in Wisbech, what are they doing in like the cities?
Big major cities, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's far more people and stuff like that. It's like it is mad.
Yeah,
unless they use it like these little towns and that's
it makes sense to make it and then go to the cities and then do it.
Yeah, but still, that's just absolutely crazy.
Barbaric.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
it really is
big time. Which I have to admit, I don't exactly want to jinx it, but that sort of thing has seemed to quieten down a lot recently. When you look back at like, well, it's still mad.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you look back at like 2016.
Yeah.
It was almost like every other fucking week there was something kicking off.
Yeah, like at the football game.
Yeah, you had the Paris ones, you had, there was like 3 in London, the Manchester one, all like in such a small window. It was just like, Jesus Christ.
Because I mean, I can remember the Manchester bombings because I remember that it was very fresh and I was at work and people were talking about it. And it was like, it's just wrong. And
it's fucking horrible.
And the Paris ones, we was actually
at the pub,
like watching the game.
And it was, and then it just cut off. And I remember going online and just seeing a load of people putting like "Pray for Paris" and that. I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? It wasn't until I got home and I looked at the news. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Didn't realise how bad it really was, but just
awful.
Get on with everyone.
Yeah.
Grow up.
Yeah, honestly.
But no, during this time there was a citywide panic as police was trying to figure out what had occurred and if it was over or not. For example, there was conflicting reports that there were 5 or more explosions rather than the 4 that was later confirmed. During the next few days, the investigation began. Initially, there was conflicting reports as to the origin, method, and even the timing of the explosions. Forensic examiners initially thought that the military-grade plastic explosives had been used, and as the blasts were thought to have been simultaneous, that synchronized time detonators had also been employed. These hypotheses changed as more information became available. The explosive was initially identified as tricetone, triperoxide. According to a May 2006 report from the British Government's Intelligence and Security Committee, homemade organic peroxide-based devices were used, which was described as at the coroner's inquest as an entirely unique mixture of concentrated hydrogen peroxide and pepper. Police examined about 2,500 items of CCTV footage and forensic evidence from the scenes of the attacks. The bombs were probably placed on the floors of the trains and bus. Investigators identified 4 men who they alleged had been the suicide bombers. This made the bombings the first ever suicide attack in the British Isles, which is mad.
Yeah.
On 12th of July, West Yorkshire Police raided 6 properties in the Leeds area, 2 houses in Beeston, 2 in Thornhill, 1 in Holbeck and 1 in Alexandra Grove in Hyde Park. 1 man was arrested. Other officers also raided a residential property on the Northern Road in the Buckinghamshire town of Aylesbury on 13th of July. The police say a significant amount of explosive material was found in the Leeds raids and a controlled explosion was carried out at one of the properties. Explosives were also found in the vehicle associated with one of the bombers at Luton railway station and subjected to another controlled explosion. Over the next few weeks, everyone was obviously on high alert and the public's tension was also very high.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks later, this all came to a boiling point, which is what the main thing I'm doing this podcast for. On 21st of July 2005, 4 attempted bomb attacks by 4 Islamist extremists oh my god, what is happening? I'm having a stroke. Disrupted part of London's public transport system as a follow-up attack on the 7/7 bombings. The explosions occurred around midday at Shepherd's Bush, Warren Street, and Oval stations on the London Underground, and on London buses Route 26 in Haggerston. A 5th bomber dumped his device without attempting to set it off. Connecting lines and stations were closed and evacuated. Metropolitan Police later said the intention was to cause large-scale loss of life, but only the detonators of the bombs exploded, probably causing a popping sound reported by witnesses, and a person having a minor asthma attack was the only reported injury.
Right.
The suspects fled the scenes after their bombs failed to explode. So yeah, they basically tried to...
It is like a grace.
Yeah, big time.
You know what I mean?
Big time, because obviously
how many people
would have, especially then, it would have just started to get back to normal, and then you think, right, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, but how many people that day escaped death?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It is actually insane. And the thing is, like, even though the guy scored out, some of them people probably didn't know what was happening.
No, of course not. They would have heard a pop, but if you're on the far end of the carriage or whatever, you see a slight pop, you think, what the fuck's that?
Yeah.
Little did they know it was an attempted suicide attack.
Yeah, oh my god.
And simply just because the detonator exploded rather than the bomb itself is the only reason you're still here.
Yeah.
Just a quirky fate. Do you know what I mean? It's so
basically
mad.
They were just shit at their job.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
Thank God.
Yeah.
The one time you need lazy workers, and then fucking hell.
The next day, on Friday 22nd of July 2005, CCTV images of 4 suspects wanted in connection with the bombings were released. 2 of the men shown in these images were identified by police on Monday 25th of July 2005. The resulting manhunt was described by the Metropolitan Police Commissioner as the greatest operational challenge ever faced by the Met. By 29th of July 2005, the police had arrested all 4 of the main suspects. However, during the manhunt, to find the terrorists, a Brazilian man called Jean Charles de Menezes was shot and tragically killed by the police in a case of mistaken identity.
Bugger.
And this is how this all came to pass. So the terrorist who threw his bag without attempting to detonate it was called Hussein Osman. When his bag was discovered by the police, they found his gym membership card inside the bag, as the idea was that the terrorists all had some kind of identity on them so that the police and public would know exactly who was responsible for the attacks.
Yeah, no, that's
because obviously in their attention, they was hoping to die from it, so they couldn't exactly be reprimanded for it.
No, and as well, it's like their way to get back to the homeland, or wherever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Be like, no, I've done a solid. I've done bits for us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, the card and name was then traced to an address of 21 Scotia Road. A major operation had been put into place that night to mount surveillance on the premises. A branch of the police was told about the suspect, the premises, and was also told to change their ammo from a normal caliber bullet to a .124 grain bullet, specifically used in a suicide bomber operation to have more chance of delivering a fatal shot.
Right. Okay.
They was also shown a black and white photo of the man in the gym membership card, and had no other form of picture or anything like that of the suspect.
That's shit. You'd have thought, like, they got the membership, got his name and everything. You think he'd be able to go for a database?
Well, yeah, exactly. But I think as well, at the same time, if his name hasn't popped up or anything, they might not have anything specific on him. But you'd think they'd like to have something.
Yeah, and as well, there weren't really social media there.
No.
That's to say that, you see what I mean. That's a good thing about social media. Like, if they want to find you, they will.
Yeah, especially nowadays, they do put shit like that out, don't they? It's like, have you seen this man? Don't approach him. Just let us know, sort of thing. It is mad. That's the beauty of social media. Is like you can't hide from this sort of shit nowadays.
No, if you've got like a presence on the internet,
you're
whatever
you're
way,
done
shape, or form, they've got you.
Yeah, especially as like what's it called, like the digital mapping and things like nowadays. Like everything anyone watching this or listening to this, anything you've searched on Google, anything you've searched on YouTube, they've got you by the bollocks.
Yeah,
they will find anything. That's why again, it's the beauty of like you got these sick fucks that look up like horrible pictures and that, indecent pictures and that. They've got you.
Yeah, 100%.
Because of your IP address and all that sort of shit.
Like, so I mean, it is tricky as well because I mean, like, you've got like VPNs
and things like that. Yeah, there are ways.
Yeah, the way,
but you're never going to be erased from the internet ever. As soon as you're on it for life.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, going on what you were just saying, it is a bit more fucks because so they had the photo with the man in the gym membership card and had no other form of picture or anything like that of the suspect, and they couldn't even take the picture with them, so they had to vividly make a mental image of that picture.
Why?
I don't know why. They literally had the one thing, passed it about.
Was there a printer on the blink or something?
I have no fucking idea, honestly.
The whole Met Police,
yeah,
they got one printer, picture. And the whole Met Police, they only got one picture, and they couldn't even take it
with them. This is what I mean. It's fucked,
right? Because you like when you think of like something, it's always like in the van or something. They're just sitting there, and then you see someone, you think, and have that picture, be like, is that him? Do you reckon?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
But
they're not even
right. I've got him.
Yeah, they're like, looking at him like, is that him? I'm not sure.
This is exactly why I'm covering this, because it's like, come on,
yeah.
You're the Metropolitan Police, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, should we just shoot him? Yeah, that'll be alright.
Well, the Scotia Road, the property under surveillance, is actually a small block of communal flats with only one point of entry into the compound. Whilst the police were staking the premises outside in a vehicle, there was a control room in Scotland Yard handing out live intelligence to the police on the scene. A man exited the block of flats and headed onto a bus which the police followed. There was also a firearms team waiting nearby in case they needed to intervene. As they were all trying to communicate with each other, the radio signals kept cutting out and the chatter was broken between them all. The bus stops outside Brixton Underground Station. The man got off the bus but realised that the station was closed due to the previous terrorist attacks, so he quickly got back onto the bus.
Right, that should be a red flag, like, for this might not be our guy, because he's just tried to get on a station what has just been foiled.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Be like, why would he, if he was a suspect, I know it's the whole thing like return to the scene of a crime and all this kind of thing, but no.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's just common logical. I know if tensions and that are all high at the minute because obviously what had happened in the past.
I get that.
But you'd like to think there'd be one person with a cool head to think, hang on a minute here.
Yeah, like, you'd have just followed him, even if it was like for the rest of the night or even the next day or stuff like that. Because they done it. I imagine they do it at night.
No, it's during the
broad daylight.
Broad daylight.
Well, fuck me.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's so mad.
London is the most CCTV city in the world.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, this is what I mean.
I might be missing something completely with this, and if I am, I do apologise. But come on.
Exactly, and it just gets more mad as I go along. Yeah, so the bus then headed to Stockwell Tube Station, which was open, so the man got off the bus and headed down to the station. At this point, the police are radioing to the control room asking for what they should do next, to which they was waiting and didn't hear anything for a good while. There was also other police surveillance officers dressed in civilian clothing to blend in, based around the station.
Yeah.
One was at the ticket barrier, and one was even on the train itself.
Okay.
The controller then told the police that the suspect must not get on the tube, to which one of the officers declared state red, means basically shoot him.
Yeah.
The man got onto the train and sat down. The police then got onto the train, to which they saw the suspect and had their weapons on him, to which the police say he stood up in shock and came towards them. The police then shouted armed police at him and he still continued to come forward. An officer then tackled him onto the seats, which is when the police then shot him. The police then returned to their base and was told not to get out of their clothes because of the evidence on them, so they was in their clothes for a good few hours.
Ugh.
Which is more fucks, because realistically, that should have been the first thing they do.
Take
the clothes off and put them in evidence bags, because obviously from travelling from there to the station, getting out the cars or whatever, then sitting in that room, there's just constant evidence going on to you.
But I don't know why it made me think that. It just shows how fucked this story is.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing with Ian Huntley, they found him from dirt.
Through the fibres and everything like that. That's what I mean.
They got him on that.
Yeah.
This, they can't even find... They're not even getting the right man. Mm-hmm. Just because they can't have a picture.
This is what I mean. This is why I wanted to cover it, is because it is just so bizarre.
Yeah, it just
baffles
me.
It just seems, and I know people might look at this and think, oh, it's just coming from a conspiracy background, but it's not. When I covered 9/11, it was the same thing with so many stories as like, how can nobody see the logical sense in that? And this is another prime example.
It's because people, a lot of people are ignorant.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a harsh way. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
We're all guilty
of it. Yeah, 100%.
You see these stories of like what's happening around the world and all the tragedies and the disgusting things what's happening. But we were all guilty of like trying to stay in our little bubble.
Yeah.
And just live life.
Yeah, exactly. That old term of like burying your head under the sand.
Yeah. And we're all guilty of it. I don't care who you are. If it's something that you do not like or do not want to see, you're not going to.
No, exactly. Or if somebody even tries to talk to you about it, it's going to go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
You're just not going to take no notice of it.
No, exactly.
But the difference between this and 9/11 is like, even though 9/11 from a logical standpoint, from what I've spoke about, is like, you can still argue it. This genuinely happened. There's no arguing this shit.
No.
It happened. But so yeah, they was told obviously not to get out the clothes. This is when forensics began examining the body of the man shot, and they discovered that it wasn't Hussein Osman, but it was in fact Jean-Charles de Menezes. The next day, this was worldwide news, that he wasn't connected in any way whatsoever to the terrorists. This is when the story becomes worse, as the news then told the story of that the police said that they drew their weapons, told him to stop, he then jumped the ticket barriers and was either pushed or fell back onto the train, and that's when he was shot. Whereas the police say that a member of the public told the news that, and have instead mistook the police who did vault the barrier for John Charles.
Right.
To which I'm not being funny, but there's a difference between one man vaulting and multiple men vaulting.
Yeah.
So how did anyone get that mixed up?
No, yeah. And it's, again, I mean, look, London is so renowned for being, you can't hide.
Yeah. What is it, the most
CCTV,
watched city in the world?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they had CCTV in the underground then.
I think they did.
You've got
yes,
evidence.
They did. Sorry, yeah, they did.
So you've got evidence there already.
Exactly.
You know, with that kind of stuff, you don't need to go to the public.
No.
Because it's there in film.
For every fucker to see. Well, the police then told the story about him resisting arrest and coming forwards towards them, to which members of the public who was on the train at the time said that never happened, and that the truth was he sat on the train normally, and when the men dressed in civilian clothes all drew guns on him, he rose slightly from his seat in a startled type of way.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
I'd be the exact same.
Exactly. He was then tackled to his seat and then shot in the head. So again, like you said, civilians coming at you with fucking guns pointing at you, you're not instantly going to think, oh, the police dressed as civilians. You're going to think, what the fuck is going on here? And then, how is that even remotely coming towards you?
No. Even if he did, you as a copper, you're in, like you say, you're in civilian clothes. You've got to think, like, he don't know who I am.
No.
He don't know if I'm a copper, if I'm a serial killer, if I'm mafia. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't know.
Or even in this situation, after what had just happened, another fucking terrorist.
Yeah. And as well, like, yeah, they might have shouted armed police, but as well, he's Brazilian.
Yeah.
He might not know.
I've understood what you meant.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. It's fucked. Well, over the next few days, the police continued putting out statements saying that Jean-Charles' clothing and behaviour was adding to their suspicions. For example, he was said to be wearing a heavy-duty black coat, when in fact he was wearing a denim jacket. Mm-hmm. This is when a woman called Lana, who worked for the IPCC, which is the Independent Police Complaints Commission, started compiling all the evidence of John Charles' shooting, and it even got leaked some documents of the statements made by the firearms team and the surveillance team and Gold Command, who was in charge that day, which is when everything started coming out. 2 hours before the shooting, an officer in the surveillance van needed to relieve himself. I needed a piss. And at the same time, someone came out the flats, but the officer didn't get a good look at him. So he radioed in that a possible suspect had left the flat.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah.
That is fair.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, if he's gone for a waz...
And just looked and someone's just walked... You weren't going to say... But the key word there, possible.
Yeah.
Not is.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
It's a possible suspect. Trail him.
Just keep an eye on him, yeah.
But what keeps coming to my head is they didn't have a picture.
No, this is what I mean.
They didn't have a picture.
This is what I fucking
They had
mean.
a black and white photo, and they weren't even allowed to use it.
No. Well, Jean Charles then got onto the bus as well did another surveillance officer. So there was a surveillance officer on the bus with him. So he's obviously going to keep looking at him. You'd think you'd have a rough idea.
I mean, not necessarily.
Obviously, you don't want to give it away, but you think they get one good glimpse at him.
What, the surveillance officer?
Yeah, on the bus. Yeah. Jean Charles, I just read that bit, sorry. Now, the woman in charge of the whole operation was a woman called Cressida Dick. Or Cressida Dick, if you want. She's a dickhead, so I'll say what I want about her. See, Dick? Communication between the officer on the bus and Cressida was very bad, and it doesn't help that the surveillance team and the firearms team are on two completely different encrypted channels. So you're having a fucking radio into one, change the channel, radio into them, and keep going back like that.
Yeah, you just ask for a recipe. Disaster. We've had it before when we've gone out for night, like hunting and that.
Yeah.
You know, and you try to talk to a walkie-talkie or whatever onto a channel.
Yeah.
And you can't understand a fucking
word they're saying.
You're not going to be like, oh, that's him then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, it's muffled. That's him. It's him.
When Jean Charles got off the bus at Brixton Station, it's because he didn't know it was closed that day. So that's why he got back onto the bus.
That's what I mean.
This raised the suspicions of the surveillance team more. However, they kept saying they don't think it's him. Jean Charles then gets off the bus and goes down into the other station, picks up a newspaper to which there is even CCTV footage proving that he wasn't challenged or stopped by any police. He then walks down the escalator. So far, he's showing no signs of a potential terrorist.
No. But, yeah, I mean, it's harder to say, like, if he's going to be all sketchy and stuff.
Yeah.
But like you say, at that point, when he's there, and I know there's CCTV, but surely there's always eyes on him. There's always someone in the perimeter. You'd get him before he'd get on the train.
Yeah.
He'd be like,
but
sir, can you come with me? Or you'd make some bullshit thing up, like he paid the right amount for the newspaper or something.
Yeah.
Can you come with me?
Yeah, exactly.
Get him into an office and then interrogate him.
Yeah. I know, granted, if he's a suicide bomber, it's you got to be a bit on edge, but you think...
Yeah.
But again, if the CCTV showing him buying a newspaper and walking down the escalator, so at what point did he vault it then? This is when the firearms team are waiting for a response and was told he must not get on the tube. So as they're running towards the train, they're still trying to get clarification, because although they're being told not to let him on the train, the question does remain via arrest, just stopping him, or shooting him.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've just said, don't get on the train. There's so many ways you can stop someone getting on a train. Cressida states that she never authorised them to shoot, whereas the officers believed they was.
Right. Could that be she's just trying to save her own hide?
Yeah, which is what I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The firearms team was also fully under the impression that the suspect had been fully identified as Hussein Osman, to which obviously he hadn't been.
No.
So all the documents so far about John Charles fleeing from the police, was behaving erratically and being suspicious were all false.
Yeah.
Protests then began to occur in London due to the lies being told.
Yeah, fair.
When the matter arrived at court, the police tried to defend themselves by saying that Jean Charles and Hussein Osman looked rather alike, and it was a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah.
This is the best bit. A composite picture showing half of each man's face, was reconstructed to help support the police's claims. The officers would have had great difficulties in differentiating between the two men. However, it was soon quickly discovered that the picture had in fact been manipulated to make it look like the two men were similar.
Right.
However, when the two pictures used for the composite picture were examined individually, it's proven that their nose shapes are different, their mouths are not aligned, and most importantly, they have completely different coloured skin tones. And just to prove it, I'll put the picture up here for you guys, but let me just show you. So that's Jean-Charles.
I'm just looking at your thumb.
Oh, that's Jean-Charles. That's Hussein Osman. How the fuck do you get them two mixed up?
That's like...
It's like getting me and you mixed up. It really is. Like I said, I'll put the picture here. How on earth can anyone mistake them two?
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's all I can say is ooh.
Yeah.
Look.
But the fact, it's just so shitty that it's like, it was proven by forensic examiners that the picture was manipulated.
Yeah, to try.
So you are really trying to cover your own end.
Yeah. In a way, though, like, after hearing all this, I mean, I do, but I don't blame the actual armed police as such.
I don't.
Because they're just there to do a job. And you got to think...
Tensions are high, you're thinking, fuck, this is another terrorist attack.
Yeah. Yeah, these are highly trained people.
Yeah.
I get that. But still, there is that human element.
I watched this documentary about it, and the main firearms guy, he was on about the one who shot him. He was like, it is a matter of life and death here. It's not like even thinking. I wasn't even thinking of my own life. I was thinking of everybody else in this train, thinking, if he fucking detonates this bomb, we're all gone.
Yeah.
So of course, like you said, the tension's high, and you've been told. You think you're under the impression that he's fully identified, and you're being told, don't let him on this fucking train. You're gonna think, right, I've got to do it. Because especially if he has been fully identified, this is a guy that's already attempted this shit.
Yeah.
So you are thinking, fuck, he's going to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I don't necessarily blame the fucking thingy.
They was just given... It was poor,
they just went off what they had.
Yeah, it was very poor communication.
Yeah. Well, in November 2007, the Metropolitan Police were found guilty of failing to protect the safety of Jean-Charles de Menezes. They were ordered to pay £560,000 in fines and legal costs. None of the officers were charged or even reprimanded for this incident, including Cressida, who just a few years later was even promoted to police commissioner for the Metropolitan Police. So the woman who fucked this all up big time was then promoted to the highest fucking level in the Metropolitan Police.
God, come on, C-Dick. Is that a right rotter here?
This is what I mean. It's just like... Because I remember there was backlash about that and everything. Like, how the fuck is she...
worked up to
the very top?
Yeah, and she couldn't even do this right.
Exactly.
Let's say, I get it. Like, yeah, everyone's tensions are high, and everyone, like there's just just a bit of terrible incident with 7-7, but you've just outright killed an innocent man for. Cause
it's like I said, it's so weird. It's like if there's anyone to point the blame at, it is her. Because realistically, like I said, the bloke...
I'll blame the whole shebang.
Yeah.
I do blame the whole Met Police.
Yeah.
Because it could have all been very easily...
Avoided.
But it's just the whole thing.
Coming back to that one poxy picture...
Yeah, a picture.
And
and they weren't even allowed to keep it.
No, I'll see if I can quickly find it. But yeah, it's just like a shitty black distorted picture. And you think... And you've got to go off that to try and potentially... Do you know what I mean? Stop a terrorist attack. Hang on. Say Osman picture. Yeah, that. That's what they had to go on.
Yeah.
Even that don't remotely look like this same guy.
Not really. No.
It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, you're getting passed around that. You've got to try and take a mental image of that picture.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you're having a quick waz. You turn around. And he's just about to go by, and you think, okay, he's just come out of there. Potential suspect. Fair enough. He's living in the same block of flats as Matey Boy.
Yeah.
But then you're following him. You've got the same guy. You've got a guy on the bus. You've got a guy on the train, at the station, all this shit. And they're just trying to find out, is this him? Is this him?
Yeah, but if they had that picture, even though, like, yeah, it's very highly distorted, you can't really get too much off it.
But you'd have a rough idea of, I don't think this is him.
Yeah, like you'd be like that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, and it is very much circumstantial.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, we could sit here and say, like, oh, these are fucking idiots and stuff like that. But when you're in that moment,
yeah. But you'd like to think the fucking chain of command would be getting as much as they can.
Yeah. And like I say, the whole thing, like, I know I mentioned with Ian Huntley, they got him from dirt.
Yeah.
Just from the type of dirt. They got that incredible.
Bang on.
But they couldn't get this because of a picture.
Yeah, this is what I mean.
It's
and
like,
especially as well.
And the funding. I mean, I know funding's always been terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But they must have so much in their arsenal.
Well, yeah, of course they do. It's a Metropolitan Police, for Christ's sake. Like,
Yeah.
of course they do. But, as well, it's like, with, even during this whole thing, was they're tracking him down or chasing him or whatever, they're still radioing in. I don't think it's him.
Yeah.
But then they still go for it. I'm like, okay, yeah, you got to go for it because you can't take that risk of being like, nah, it's not him, and then it happened. But, like, come on, man.
And the thing as well, it sounds like with 7-7 and the failed attempt, it was all with bags.
Yeah.
Did he have a bag on?
No.
Yeah, I know you get suicide vests and everything like that, but, you know.
But if the original attack was bags,
Yeah.
and the attempted attack was bags, okay, yeah, you might want to slightly change your fucking method, but again, he was wearing a heavy black duty coat. No, he weren't. He was wearing a denim jacket.
Yeah.
He vaulted the thing. No, he didn't. The police vaulted the thing. It's like so many things. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
And then to try and cover... This is where I think it pisses me off the most with, like, the Metropolitan Police, that they tried to cover their own back by manipulating a picture to say, see, they look at them. Brother, look at me and Ed. I'm not even kidding. Like, you've seen the picture. It's so... ironically, black and white. You can't get more different than these fucking guys.
I think in the right light we'd look alike.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if a fucking distorted picture of me was passed about, and then it's like, I think we got the right guy here.
Yeah.
Oh my fuck! It's just so mad. But this is why I want to cover it. Obviously, not for the terrorist attack itself. There's nothing really conspiracy-wise around that.
No, it's just
but everything that happened
event.
afterwards, it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake! It's like, and especially as well, like they were found guilty and only had to pay £506,000. Yeah, okay, it's a shit ton of money, but in the grand scheme of things, to like John Charles's family, that's nothing.
No, they've just lost their family member.
Over fuck all.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just because he
Wrong
was in the
place,
wrong place,
wrong
wrong.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And because they had a mistaken identity, which can happen, but don't try and manipulate it and lie about it. Don't try and fit the story to fit your narrative. Just be honest.
But the thing is, when he got off the bus to look at Brixton train station, you'd get him then because he's out in the open.
Exactly.
You'd be like, "Excuse me, sir."
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know,
At that point, even
bang.
if you want to fucking draw, you're going to be like, please get the fuck down.
Yeah.
But don't be just... Let him get back on the bus. Because I'm not being funny. If he see the train station was closed and got back on the bus, what's stopping him from blowing up the bus? It happened before.
Yeah.
It was exactly how it happened on 7-7.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't let him get back on that bus in case he does it then, because he's thinking, oh, well, the fucking station's done. I'll just do the bus like other geezer did.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, come on, man. Yeah. Oh, it's a fucking joke. It is an absolute fucking joke.
Thing is that the longer they were leaving it to actually try and reprimand him,
the worse it was getting.
The more G'd up they were getting.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just, oh my god, he's on a bus, he's on a bus, he's on a bus, he's got off the bus. Oh god, he's back on the bus, he's back on the bus.
Yeah.
Oh god, he's at his train.
He's at the station. He's fucking gone down. It's gone down.
Oh god, he's on the train.
And especially as well, like they're on different channels. So this Gold Command team's got channel 1, right? Surveillance team, keep your eye on him. Do not let him on that bus. Right, channel 2, firearm team. Okay, stand by. Do not let him on that train. And then they're radioing, going, but is it certified him? And then channel 1's going, I don't think it's him. Do you know what I mean? It's like, of course, it was bound to fuck up.
Yeah.
It was bound to fuck up in some way. But again, I just keep coming back to it. The whole thing. Oh, he was wearing a fucking black jacket. No, he weren't. He vaulted the thing. No, he didn't. Oh, he was walking towards us on the train. No, he wasn't. It's like, did you really think he was going to get away with this shit?
And don't most tube trains now, I don't know if they did then, was a CCTV.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah. But it's like, for fucking hell's sake, this poor bloke.
Well, yeah. It's just, like you say, wrong place,
wrong time.
And, yeah.
That's fuck.
He got deaded.
He got deaded.
bloody dead.
But I can't get my head around it. Like,
no. The thing is, there's got to be something we're missing, because it seems so simple to not
get it wrong.
Yeah. But there must be some reason.
But just
reasoning.
Fucking come out with it. Yeah, okay, we fucked up big time, all
Yeah.
right? We thought it was him. He came out. If they just come out with a story straight away, okay, we had this flat under surveillance because Hussein Osman lives there. He came out of the flat. We didn't exactly have the best picture of him, so we looked at him as a potential suspect. Hence why we followed him.
And this was all because a person needed a piss.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Talk about...
Fucking... But I'm not being funny. Do you know what is even more mad? Is the fact that obviously they had the surveillance team outside the flat. Jean-Charles has come out, so they instantly follow him. For all... It could have so badly gone wrong that Hussein Osman could have come out after they left and gone and done an actual terrorist attack.
Exactly.
This is how even worse it could have gone.
Yeah, let's say luckily he weren't there, he was pumping iron.
Yeah. But it's, for fuck's sake. Just madness.
It really is. It really is.
But again, this is why I wanted to cover it. It's not on the same level as 9/11 where there's just so many what ifs, but it's just like how, again, we've said it, tensions were high and obviously all this sort of stuff, and it was only a few weeks after 7/7, but you'd like to think, especially the Metropolitan Police, would be a bit more on the ball with this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, like you say, especially after the year, it happened 3-4 years after 9/11. You think it'd be worldwide on how...
And I think it was a year after the Madrid bombing as well. I think that was in 2004.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? You're already thinking there could be one here.
Yeah, so you think there'd be training and
all that sort of shit. Yeah, you'd like to think they'd have this shit on lock.
Like, honestly, you can't, like, when after 9/11, how, like, with airport security especially,
mate, that went up like you know yourself.
Today.
Today, even if you've been into an airport, they've got that shit on lock.
Yeah, and it is fantastic. Like, at the time, as a person who wants to go on holiday or something, you think, is this all necessary? Yes, it is.
Yes,
look what happened.
Big time.
Look what happened.
And as well, I think, was it a few months after this, the foiled plot at Heathrow? That was only literally a few months after all of this kicked off. So it just goes to show between 2001 and 2005 how much the security stepped up.
Yeah, but that's it. But not the police, it seems.
No.
The security in, like, airports and stuff like that.
They were torn up to a sense, as obviously they've got a guy under identity, they've got the address, follow him, make sure he don't get on the plane, all that shit. If this was Hussein Osman, you'd be commending them because it's like, you did your job, you stopped it. But the fact they got the wrong guy and then tried to cover it up, that's where you've lost everyone.
Yeah, 100%.
Even if you got the wrong guy, but just come out and opened it. Yeah, all right, we got the wrong guy. XYZ, this is why, this is how, we apologise, blah, 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 we apologise to the family, whatever.
But also, what's just coming to my mind, they found out where Hussein Osman lived. It was in a block of flats. You'd think they'd find out everyone who lived in them block of flats.
Exactly.
Just so there
you know
would
what
be
address?
No missing mistaken identity.
Exactly. So I'm not being funny. You see it before. They've raided houses in Leeds and shit. If you find out the address of every fucking one of these people, even if you can't find out Hussein Osman's, let's say there's 10 flats in this thing, you find out who the 9 other fucking residents are, well, you know that 10th one's Hussein Osman's. Raid the flat!
Yeah. Or at least, like, pretend to be a pizza boy or something. And knock on every door, but like, I got your pizza. And if it was, you open the door and Hussein Osman's standing there, I didn't order that. Be like, haha, but we've got you, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Or even if it's like, oh, yes, okay, sorry, boss. It's like, he looked fucking close to that picture.
Yeah.
It's that flat.
Exactly.
It's just so many different ways they could have done it.
Straight raid.
Obviously, we're not here saying, oh, yeah, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. We're not trained fucking professionals.
Nah. That you know of.
Yeah.
You never know.
But no, the surveillance team did their job. The firearms team did their job. It's just the Gold Command were fucking...
wank.
You know that... Did you ever used to watch SpongeBob when you were little?
Yeah.
You know that episode where it's like he goes into his brain and there's like multiple different SpongeBobs and like the building officers on fire and they're all scrambling all over the place? That is this.
Yeah.
That is this. They're just like, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah. 100%.
But again, they was under the impression that he was identified. And how guilty that guy must feel. The one that killed him.
Yeah.
thinking I was under the impression this was him, and I've just stopped a terrorist attack and I've saved all these innocent people's lives. No, on the flip side, I've killed an innocent man.
Yeah. In a way, you're not. You're then not any better.
No.
Yeah, it's less lives, but
you've still killed an innocent man.
That's exactly what terrorists were doing.
Yeah.
If they got 20 people or one person, as long as they got one.
100%. 100%. But nah, it's just royally fucked.
It really is.
But no, I think that's about me done on the situation. Apologies, it's been a quite short one. Like I said, there's not really much else I could go on about it.
No.
I've said, obviously, what happened. But again, just that picture. They try to manipulate that picture to make it look... You can just imagine some geezer on Photoshop fucking... we'll make him a little bit darker, make him a little bit lighter, we'll line the mouse up. Yeah, they look quite similar.
Yeah.
And then, they didn't even think that a forensic fucking... whatever would look at it and go, just get rid of all the Photoshop. It's like... You sure about that, boss?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fuck knows. But no. Like I said, I think that covers me on this. So, Ed, what are we doing next week?
Oh, she didn't ask me. I don't know. Let's have it.
I'd be surprised.
No, hang on. Where are my books? Cryptozoology. This is the volume 1. No. Nah. I think that would have been pretty cool.
What?
Freshwater octopuses.
What about Cthulhu? Not cryptid, but...
No. Honestly, I think if we go down that rabbit hole, it's a fucking thing. Actually.
Oh, we might have one, boys. We might have a winner. The horse is at the races.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I want to talk about lizard men.
The Queen.
That's the thing. You could do that.
Yeah.
You could make it.
They're all lizards.
Yeah.
She's not dead. She's just shed her skin.
But no, because there's the one with the lizard man escape war. And there's a documentary on Disney Plus.
Right.
And it's like all different like paranormal events. And one of them was about a lizard man.
Right.
And it to the point where a man was so obsessed he actually blew himself up in a car. Yeah.
Well, what?
Yeah, exactly that. So I think that would be quite a good one. And like you say, Josh, if you want to
fucking go on the whole Queen lizardy shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I might just for bants. I might just
because
see what
it's
I can
not
find.
even like the royal family. It's like all like world leaders and that. Have you ever seen like them YouTube videos? And it's just like I don't know, reptilian caught on camera. Yeah. And it was just like someone who's like blinking and all of a sudden like another different eye shows up and then they're blinking again, and all stuff like that.
Yeah, I might add see what I can add to it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's not a lizard thing, but there's this guy that I've seen his video on. It's like some sort of pasta, but he's like the opposite of every fucking like pasta you can think of. He's like the Ric Flair of pastas. Like he's just multi-millionaire fucking flash bastard. If there's anyone who could pass off as a reptile, it is him. He has the most reptilian eyes I've ever seen in my life. I've got to try and find his name. Oh, what's his name?
How are you going to search this reptile-looking man?
Pasta reptile geezer. Might come up.
If it does, I'm going to cry.
That actually does!
Oh,
it actually does! Oh, fuck off. No, I hate that.
What?
When you go on YouTube and it shows you like a thumbnail, and you click on the thumbnail and it's a completely different fucking video. Dickheads.
At least with our thumbnails, you don't.
Yeah, they're legit.
Get that.
No, I don't want pastas holding snakes. Oh, what's his name? Fucking hell. I need to find it. Let me go on the actual page.
Yeah.
Come on. What's his name?
Might have it on the description.
What's his name? Come on. Come on. Do.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Oh, what is his name? Oh, it's got the full video. Look at them eyes.
I don't see it.
Don't you?
No.
Look at that motherfucker. Go away, Jesus. Oh, hang on. What's his actual name? Kenneth Copeland. Here we go.
Alright.
Right. We're on to something now, boys. The hunt's begin. See Metropolitan Police, this is how you fucking do it.
Let's say it's a lot easier nowadays
Yeah.
than it was then. But still.
Like, that motherfucker drinks baby blood. Look at that guy. That's a reptile if I've ever seen one.
I don't see it.
Really?
Personally. No.
I think that fucking... Jesus Christ. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'll put a picture of him here. You let me know what you think. Tell me if that guy looks like he was.
There you go. There's a question. There you go. You have to wait to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Does this man look like a lizard?
He worships the devil at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But no, I think yeah. So that'll be next week.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, I'll see
Lizard
what I
man.
can find.
Yeah. It's gonna be quite.
But
fun.
no, Ed, where can they find us?
Well, you can find us on Facebook, which is Missing Mysteries in black and white. You can follow us on Instagram, which is Missing Mysteries _. Not word underscore, the actual underline thing. Every time. It gets me every time. You can follow us on X or Twitter, or whatever it's called, which is Missing Mysteries 1.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow us on TikTok, where every week, well, you try every week, we put little shorts up, which we do on Instagram now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Banging them out. Whereas it's usually like the funny clips. Like the tangents.
I want to start adding more of the actual serious stuff to it as well, though.
Yeah.
Proper.
Because as well as
it gets people intrigued, do you know what I mean? Well, hopefully.
Exactly, and they don't just look at it and think we're just pissed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we are, don't get us wrong, but, we try and teach people.
Yeah.
Well, we're learning and all, so.
Yeah.
Righto. So that's Missing Mysteries 10. You can subscribe and watch us on YouTube. Hello. Where you get to see our faces, and also on there is where we do our hunts, interviews, and vlogs and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Reacts. Did I say reacts? No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
And our reacts when we eventually do
them.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and because it's such a bugger to find due to the algorithms, so the best way to find our YouTube is through our other socials, where there'll be a link. So, and then if you subscribe and like the channel and click that little bell notification, probably YouTube, that, and with that, you'll help us get into the algorithm. So when someone searches 7/7 or Bigfoot or whatever, we will then eventually come up, and it makes our channel grow, which we very much appreciate. But yeah, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. You can email us. That could be theories you got of like what we've covered today. That could be ideas for future episodes. So what would you like us? Even though I've just had to scramble to try and find something to do next week, which is my apologies. That is my fault, and I will take full brunt of that. But so if you think, I don't know, just a random monster, cryptid, myth, legend, conspiracy, serial killer, yada 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 yada, ghost story, UFO story, yada yada yada. Criticisms, what you haven't really liked about a show, what you think we've misread or didn't understand.
Yeah.
Praises, which we prefer. So what you've liked about the episode, what you like about our podcast in general, about us, which we'd like. If you want our merch, even though neither of us are wearing it today. If you've got, if you want to collab with us, that could be a podcast episode, that could be a hunt, that could be an interview or whatever. I think I around about covers it.
Yeah,
pretty much. But yeah, and our email is mythsandmysteries10@gmail.com. So please get on to us.
Yeah,
and we can't wait to hear back from, to talk to you.
Yeah,
basically. I think that
covers your end,
yeah. Josh, where can they listen to us?
Well, even though you already are. You fancy listening on another platform or all of them, you can find us on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Podchaser, Play FM, and iHeartRadio.
Fantastic.
So yeah. That wraps up this week's episode. Thank you very much for watching or listening or both, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Happy hunting. Oh, you made a mess of yourself, mate.